Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. And today, Steve and I are starting the rough country build for Project Brewser. I struggled there. So our second gen Dodge build that we've been, nothing's been fun so far. We've been doing some body work on it, which we're not done. Getting it running, driving, registered. Still got a lot of work to do to it, but today we need a break from that stuff and we need to do something fun. Now it's a lot of work, nothing's gonna come apart. We plan on cutting everything, but we're talking rough country today. Those coils are huge. 5 or 5.5 inch rough country suspension lift going in this thing. Old school, right? 94. So not as common anymore. You don't see as many of these things, which makes this even cooler. We have a badass set of wheels that's gonna top it off. They're 34, 35 inch tall tires. The truck is completely stock right now. We got control arms going in it, drop pitman arm, new coils. We got a dual steering stabilizer. I've got some front end components that are also going in it. And then I gotta weld in a new spring seat on the driver's side because it's rusted through. Of course, we'll be sporting our rough country swag today. Steve's already got his on, so check that out. I got a shirt on, it's underneath here. Once we get into this and it gets a little warmer. But let me go outside here, show you what the truck looks like, completely stock. All right, there she be. She is a stock suspension. I think the tires, if anything, the tires have been upgraded a little bigger than stock. I didn't check the door, but I feel like they are. It's aftermarket wheels, which are period correct. I do like those. Yes, we're still doing the body work. But this is what it looks like now. And then when this thing rolls back out of here, she's gonna be a completely different looking animal. And we've got a ton more rough country stuff to do to this. Spare tire carrier for the bed. We've got like 6 different sets of lights and lighting that we're gonna be doing to this truck. It's going to be killer. We're potentially going to be putting a front brush guard on this thing as well. It's a drunk guard sourced one that is really cool and period correct. Yeah, let's dig into this thing. Let's get it inside. All right, she's going up. Next time she comes down, she'll be a little bit higher. Well, a lot higher. Like that much, or more than that, actually. That looks pretty good.
Yeah, that's fine.
Gotta give it the shake test. First things first, we're gonna try to get these wheels off. Have not had them off. These things have been on this truck for like, as long as it was sitting, so 8, 9 years. I got the key for the sockets. Yeah, I'm not having a lot of faith in that. They're gonna come off, Steve?
Yeah, I think so.
Bad word. All right, hold on, we'll tap that one. 2 locks on one wheel. This is the spring seat I was talking about. Whew. There's not much left to that. Oh my God. Got a new one, we're gonna grind and weld that in there. But I think for starters, these fast, I got all new bolts too. Those are never coming out of there. So we're gonna go ahead and just gonna cut all the hardware right out of these control arms. And that even that's not gonna be that fun, but we're gonna do that first. All right, we're gonna attempt, before we get the Sawzall out, because it's just gonna suck, to torch the head or the nuts and back these out, and then use our air hammer here and try to drive it out. I just have a feeling they're probably really seized. All right, you know it's gonna be good. And we expected this, but Sawzall's coming out. So Steve's torching the nuts, and the nuts are backing out, and so far out of 4, we've only got 1 that was able to drive through. We're resorted to cutting the head off because, well, nothing's working. Interesting, bud. Down a little bit, yeah. Good. All right, 1 arm out. Heat it up to expire to hold down there. All right, so we've literally got 1 control arm out and some bolts loose. Other ones we have to torch. It's literally an hour and a half into it. It's just the way things go. But we're both hungry. It's 1 in the afternoon. We'll go into Las Olas, grab us some burritos.
No,
Oh yeah, these burritos are gonna go down nice. All right, I literally get everything in the world on my burrito, and not that you guys even care, but I care, and it's a challenge every time we go in there because my burrito is like the biggest thing ever, and they roll that thing every single time. Back to work. All right, now that burrito's down, we're back in the shop. We haven't started the lift kit yet. We're still cutting stuff out. So I got the torch. Actually, this is like one of the only bolts that's coming out. I'm gonna go ahead and start burning the heads off of all these things and get these things out of here. All right, so sometimes you do what you gotta do. Combination of just literally cutting out the control arm, but you know, we're getting there. Almost time to start putting the lift kit in. All right, here we go. We got 1, 2, 3, we have 4 control arms, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces now. Oh man, that sucked, but they are out. So now we're straightening out the ears and stuff because everything was stuck in there real good. And then we'll lower this thing down and we're gonna work on getting the shock bolt out, and it's probably gonna be a very similar situation, I'm afraid. So since this is gonna be a fairly long video, this is a great time to hit the like and subscribe, tell a friend, all the cool stuff that we're doing here. And if you try something like this on an older vehicle, if you don't have a set of torches, none of this is happening. Like, without fire, it's not happening. So I get a hole through. All right, quick little weld repair on this ear here that was super, super thin, and actually it was a Sawzall that we cut into it with. So we fixed that. Steve got all the ears straightened back out, and he's actually over here now in bushing land. Check that out. The Rough Country comes with all, these are what, poly? Yeah, they're like a poly bushing. Yeah, he's putting bushings in, and they're all greasable. Check that out. Nice, huh? All right, so next step is I'm gonna lower this down so the front end's on jack stands. I'm gonna probably move into my Rough Country hat because that's the right thing to do. And I'm gonna move it down on the jack stands. We're gonna work on getting the shocks out so we can go ahead and get the coils out so I can cut what's left of this coil seat out. Look at that. All right, so amazingly enough, the bolts came right off the top of the shock. Shocking. Then now we're gonna lift the lift up and pull that spring out of there and to lead the shock. Then we're gonna attempt to get the lower bolt out. Then we can start putting the lift kit in. All right, there we go. As you can see, the spring seat on the driver's side is no more, but we gotta get rid of that freaking shock bolt. Play the lottery. The lower shock bolt came out. Look at that, it's actually in great shape. I torched the nut just to heat it up and she walked right out of there. Didn't expect that. All right, it's a good view of the spring seat, locked her off. So I'm gonna trim out what's left of it. The passenger side seems to be okay. And then we're gonna weld in our new one and we'll be good to go. All right, so we should probably be following the directions, but we're not. We've done enough of these front ends that it's okay. So basically, Steve's working on the bushings again. And I'm welding the seat in. All right, test fit. It actually fits really good, the new spring seat. You can see all the mini mounting points where it's gonna go. Don't mind Steve, he's just crawling onto the truck. I'm gonna throw this in a blast cabinet and see if this Super Duty coating they have on there comes right off, because there's so many spots to weld underneath it, and clearly we're gonna be oil undercoating and this everything when we're done on this truck, so why not? All right, the benefit of doing powder coat and sandblasting in-house. All right, so we're gonna reuse the spring hats, and because actually they're in pretty good shape, surprisingly. And we're obviously new shocks. We're gonna set the shock and the spring in at the same time because I didn't unbolt the whole shock tower, which hopefully we don't have to. Slight difference. Holy damn, dude. All right, we got one coil, I guess partially in. I still have to finish welding the seat. Clearly a big involved project when you're dealing with a really old crusty truck. Because everything is going to fight you taking it apart. It's just the way it is. Track bar, we did get that unbolted. I do got to take the pitman arm off probably before I can even get the other coil in, because this was a stretch getting this one in. However, I just lost Steve. So now I'm flying solo. He's going out to dinner with his wife, well-deserved. But we're going to see how far I can get with just me. With that being said, Caleb's not here helping me record, so that sucks too. But anyway, something funny happened today, by the way. Steve came over this morning and he found an old 3/4 ton Chevy 2-wheel drive with a 6-liter and a 4L80 transmission in it. Transmission was going to be for his food truck as a replacement, backup transmission, and the 6-liter was going to be built for his Camaro. Anyway, long story short, I went to this guy's house and I did a video on it. There's a short on it. And actually, I could probably drop the clip right here in the video too if I think about it. No guarantees. All right, let's go. All right, this is one of the main reasons why we're here. It's the 6.0. Going to be future for the Camaro and the 480 tied behind it for the food truck. I'm going to do some sketchy shit. Oh, God. This place is sketchy. Needless to say, it was a sketchy, redneck, total marketplace disaster situation. We left without the truck. The guy flipped his skid steer over. It was actually hilarious. And we laughed about it, but he didn't get the truck. So, anyway, back to work. All right. Both springs are in, both sides. I don't know. I'm going to probably review the directions because actually Rough Country has some good directions. I think I might put the upper control arms in while it's sitting here on the stands, or try to at least get those stabbed in. And I have new hardware. We bought that separate. So keep that in mind. The kit doesn't come with new hardware, and depending on where you live, you're definitely going to need some new hardware. So I might try to at least get the upper arms in, I think. I don't know. I think I might try the lower arms because they're easier to get to. Again, it doesn't come with hardware. I know I got hardware. I think I brought it over there already. I'm actually pretty organized, so back off. See? Right where I thought it was. So we have the 2 lower control arm cam bolts, and then all 4 bolts for the control arms. So you have the larger bolts and the smaller bolts. So yeah, you definitely want to get these. And they are a 10-9, so they're metric. So they are a hardened bolt, as you saw when we were trying to cut it with a sawzall. So let's put them in. All right, so I got actually both sides in by myself. A little bit of wrestling with the axle, but it wasn't bad, so I couldn't record it. New hardware, like I said, and they actually just went right in with our buddy old Andy C's as lube, and as you can imagine, it literally gets everywhere. So since I'm on a roll, I might see if I can't stab the upper arms as well. Then honestly, we can go up with the lift and get at the pitman arm and the sway bar links and all that stuff. So if you have an old truck and like you want this work done to it, you're up in New England where it's all rusty and stuff, and you want like a big lift and altered all kinds of stuff, be prepared to pay because it's going to be a lot of labor. So if say a lift kit says, oh, it takes 5 hours, no joke, you're going to double that easily on a vehicle up here in New England when it's this rusty. Easily. All right. You learn to struggle or work, by yourself when you're by yourself. And that includes ratchet straps sometimes to get these control arms hooked up. But they're stabbed. Woo! All right, truck's back up in the air. It's still hanging too low. The springs, woo! Springs just kind of hanging there, but it's there. Control arms are in. Before I go too far, and I gotta pull the pitman arm, we're gonna space out the sway bar here. Then we gotta do something with the track bar relocator and drilling a hole and something with that. But I need to finish welding up into here on the spring seat. We got some of it welded, but I'm gonna finish welding it now that it's way easier to get to. So that's done before I forget about it. All right, pitman arm off. This ways you can get it off. Pitman arm puller from our friends over here at OEM Tools. No, they didn't send me that, but they make some decent stuff and the price is right. The old pitman arm and the new pitman arm, honestly, they're bent kind of the same. Here, I'll show you the difference. If you look, the way this was on, the link went in through the top. The way the Rough Country link is, it's gonna flip over, go 180, and go in through the bottom. That's how they get the drop. It's not any more of a drop, but it's a lot beefier. All right, so new pitman arms in. It's basically touching the sway bar. However, we're spacing that out, so that sway bar is gonna be down here. So keep that in mind, we haven't got to that yet. This is what I'm talking about. This went in down through the top before. Now we gotta undo this shock. We're doing a dual steering stabilizer anyway, so that's gonna go away. And then loosen this up, hopefully turn this 180 degrees, and it's gonna go up through that way instead of down through. And that's how you correct the angle, I think. All right, so this dog. Steering stabilizer stud wouldn't come out, so, well, I cut it off. Because the whole new dual stabilizer setup isn't gonna work like that anyway. So, I don't think. I did loosen this up, and then amazingly, I was able to rotate this 180 degrees, so it's gonna go up through there. However, before we do that, we're gonna bolt up our drop bracket for our track bar here, and I believe it goes like, something like, let me figure this out. I'll get right back with you. Woo. Ooh, okay, directions help, Scott. So, and yes, I normally do, but this is my own project, so it actually goes like this. And there's a washer that goes between it. It gets bolted on like so. We're gonna remove that brake line bracket and we're gonna drill a hole in the frame right there. And then the track bar bolts right back in there. All right, Houston, we have a problem. The track bar bracket, everything lines up where it's supposed to go, where you drill a hole in the frame, the whole deal right here. However, the bolt they sent me is quite large and it doesn't fit in the stock mount location, which is a tapered hole, which is fine. So that's problem one. I'm like, all right, well, we could ream that out or whatever. Doesn't talk about it. The next thing is the new hole, so to speak, for the track bar is also too big for the track bar to go into. So something's up. This is the wrong bracket. I don't know, but something is not right. And unfortunately, it's Saturday night. They're closed and not open on Sunday. So clearly I won't get this done this weekend, but that's fine. It's not a daily driver yet, so that's totally cool. And I'm confident that Rough Country, because their customer service is outstanding. Anytime I've ever had an issue with any of their stuff on any project or run into a problem, they research it, they figure it out and get right back to you. And then overnight, whatever they got to do to make this right. And that's what makes them an awesome stand-up company. All right, though. In the meantime, we can figure out our steering stabilizer situation. We've got to install. I know I have the hole in the frame we have to fix. Got to fix it. Relax. That's because there was a huge mouse nest in here. Ugh. But for now, we're going to space down the sway bar, put the sway bar links. We can put a lot of the stuff on. We can do the rear of the truck, literally everything but the track bar, and just hold off on our axle being centered until we figure that out. Okay, so I might have screwed up. We got this lift kit. It's for a 9401, everything. This is a 94. Everything about it. However, you always want to read the fitment notes. And we're usually really good about it. And actually, there's only one on this lift kit. And it says, won't fit anything produced before 2794. This is a 1 of 94. So everything fits so far, no problems, except the track bar drop bracket. I bet you that's got something to do with our problem, and that really sucks, because I'm this far into it. This is getting a 5-inch lift, and we got to figure it out. A different drop bracket, an adjustable track bar. I'm not sure, but we're definitely going to figure it out. It's not Rough Country's fault. Apparently, it's mine. I'm still going to call them Monday and figure out what I need to do to get through this, and they might have some suggestions, but oops. All right, I'm so confident we're going to get through this. I'm moving ahead with doing the rest of the lift, and I got new sway bar bushings. Good darn thing, because mine were completely smoked. So we are doing a few things like that while we're in here, because here we are installing these sway bar spacers, and I knew about the frame I had to patch and everything, but then I'm like, it's literally underneath the mount, and I'll take that back off. So I should at least skin the bottom here and put the new welded piece on here. Here, company. That's why I stuttered. Hey guys. All right, well, I'm in here, and where the sway bar drop bracket's gonna go, I already knew I had to patch the frame, the sides, whatever. But the bottom, I'm gonna reskin this and put a layer over this. Both the same gauge steel. I have some over here. So I'm gonna do this, and you guys don't need to see it. I mean, you can see it after I'm done. I'm not gonna be afraid to show you. I'm not gonna do the sides yet, probably. I'm just gonna do the bottom so we can actually put these sway bar spacers in and get this thing bolted up. I tell you, working on old, a 94. I mean, that's old. Crusty vehicles, it's a challenge. Constantly a challenge. And you guys from down south, you're like, I can't believe you're putting a dime into that truck. Blah, 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 blah. It's all rotted out. It's debatable up here. Rot out is a different context as how you guys would consider rotted out. This is pretty rough, but it's good. It's a project vehicle. All right, so yeah, we do frame repair and stuff here as well. So I went ahead and fixed or patched or layered or scaled, whatever you want to call it. I fixed the frame. Now we can put the sway bar spacers in and not worry about it and have them take it back down. Yeah. All right, guys, it's the next day now. I did some homework, I did some research, and it looks like after February 7th of 94, for whatever reason, they went from a 5/8 taper track bar mount to a 3/4 inch, so a larger one, which explains why this mount has the larger hole in it, is what it is. So what we're gonna do, this is the plan. I'm gonna order a new track bar. This will be, I think, the easiest way to do it. Assuming that it's the same length and everything, just has the bigger stud in it. It should probably be replaced anyway. So I'm gonna order a new track bar. We'll temporarily throw that in there sloppy, but just so it's in there. We can still get the bracket bolted up and the hole drilled in the frame where it goes, and this will temporarily mount that one loosely so we can get this truck up and running and driving. When the track bar comes in, I'll swap it out. So that's my fault. That was a miss on the fitment notes. Assuming that is the only issue, and it has been so far. As you can see, the frame patch is all done. I did throw some paint on it. Came out pretty good. So I'm gonna go ahead and now put the sway bar permanently spacer in there, and so we can get the links hooked up. We'll get the track bar mount put in, a few other odds and ends, the tie rod ends and some other stuff, and then we'll move on to the rear. All right, so not really part of the lift kit. However, when I plated this frame, because it was rotted right here, this nut, which is inserted into the frame here, was gone. It was rotted. So obviously you can't get your hand in there to hold it, but sometimes if you have a nut, you go ahead and weld a piece of metal tab on there. That'll get you where you need to be, and you don't have to worry about holding it. All right, mechanic tip of the day. And a lot of plows come this way, but a lot of guys don't think of doing this. You got a blind hole that you can't get inside to get a nut on, go ahead and get a piece of scrap metal, weld the nut onto it like so, pop it in the hole there, and you line it up, and you're good to go. A lot of factory plows are done that way. All right, so track bar bracket is now in. Now again, the difference being is this truck, because it was one of January of '94, that's why they say it won't fit on this, and technically it didn't, because the track bar has a, wherever it went, has a 5/8 taper on it, and this is 3/4. So I just ordered a new track bar for a February production model, which has the bigger ball stud. So that should fit. When it gets here, we'll throw it in, but it's not stopping us. Steve moved forward. He's got the tie rod end all in, the new adjustment sleeve in, the sway bar links in, and now we're working on the dual steering stabilizer. So it is coming together. Oh, and I got the spacer in for the sway bar as well on our newly patched frame. So it's getting there. All right, steering stabilizer, the dual setup. Now you get rid of the stock from the stock location, that wimpy little white single one. So now a dual, everything's loose. So now we're gonna set the truck down on the jack stands. Because these springs are totally loose, and get this thing to bear its own weight until it's just the lift arms are coming off, so it's the full weight of the truck. Then we're gonna center and tighten up our steering stabilizers and tighten down all of our control arms, and then we'll be able to put our brake lines back on too. So then it's moving on to the rear, I think, right? I think we're good. That's happening. Hell yeah. Huh? All right, so steering's adjusted before we take it down the road, obviously, without the track bar still. We got the rear control arms all tightened down. We adjusted the sway bar a little bit, and we're ready to move on to the rear, I believe. We are gonna do something with the brake lines. They're too tight, and the kit didn't come with brackets. It's pretty easy to do. Just gonna unbolt it here and drop it down a couple inches. Just a literally tab of steel. But between now and then, because I don't need to do that this minute, we're gonna leave them like that. All right, guys, we're in the back of the truck now. We actually just took the bolts all out for these old shocks. So out with the old. Look at that, man.
I said it's still good.
Yeah, you can run these a little more.
Lightweight racing shock.
Right, a little into the pile. We obviously got the new shocks. Here's the dilemma. It's not really a dilemma. So this thing has a stock block in it. The U-bolts they give you are so long. If you took that block out and replaced it with this block, the U-bolts would be sticking down like 4 inches. Okay, you see where I'm going with this? So basically what I'm saying is, and this block is less than an inch taller than the stock block. This is a 5-inch lift. This would be a California squatted truck if we did not stack the blocks. No, I'm not a fan of it. I'm not saying it's right, but that's the only way to achieve the actual 5-inch lift. And I don't know, I have to confirm with Rough Country, but I feel like that's their intent, was to stack these because of the length of the U-bolt. It was literally down here. So if I didn't stack these blocks, you couldn't even use those U-bolts they send you. So that's what we're going with, because I'm not gonna have a truck squatted. Definitely not. Not in Maine, boys. No. All right, we're taking the U-bolts off. I could cut them off. We don't need to be violent. We're just gonna torch the nut. And we're gonna add the block, like I said. Maybe it's wrong. I'll confirm with Rough Country. I'm gonna actually call them tomorrow, because honestly, I'd like to hear what they say. It's funny how the fronts are always so complicated and the rear are pretty darn basic. They're all the same. And again, we're stacking this. Argue what you want. Drop a comment. I don't care. As soon as this cools down a little bit, we're going to lower this jack stand, We're gonna sneak the other block in there and then put the new U-bolts in. I'll show you how long they are. They're probably still too long. Like, you probably still have to trim them, to be honest with you. All right, here we go. Shocks are in, blocks are in, U-bolts are in, everything's snugged down. They did not address the brake line brackets, like I said, so I'm gonna whip up a couple brackets front and rear, so 3 total, and get those thrown in there because I'll just feel more comfortable. Granted, it's at full droop right now, so it'll probably never be at that point, but if you want to put it on the lift, I don't want to deal with unbolting the brake lines, so I'm gonna take care of that. Again, this is what I was talking about with the U-bolts. If you didn't stack the blocks and you just used this block, these U-bolts were down here and you couldn't even use the threads. So to me, it's pretty obvious of what you had to do. I'm going to confirm that before this video is over, and maybe I'll eat cake, but either way, it would be a squatted truck and I'm not doing that. So we're doing it our way. All right, so I got our front brackets, we made extensions, and our rear bracket, and I could throw them in there. I decided to just extend this just up like 3 or 4 inches right from here to here and still keep it out of the way of the control arm. That way I don't have to mess with any of the hard lines or anything like that. And the rear, we're just kind of shifting it over and down. Do you need these? No. I think once the truck's on the ground, and if I had the track bar in, it wouldn't be sagging this far down anyway. But we're a fab shop and a powder coat shop. So yeah, we made brackets. I'm gonna go ahead and powder coat these before I throw them on. But in the meantime, I think we're to the point where I can throw, we're leaving the track bar out, but I can throw the wheels and tires on this pad boy and see what we're gonna look like on the ground. All right, I think it's time. Wheels and tires, baby. It's time to go on. This one's actually a little dusty, kind of a bummer. We gotta unbox the rest of them. 295 70 18s, basically a 34, 35 inch tire. New set of lug nuts. Oh yeah. Now keep in mind, I'll be pulling these back off at some point because I'm gonna be oil undercoating this whole thing. But we got more work to do on the truck before we get to that point, but we're just doing the altitude adjustment. I'm excited, okay? This is a big deal. It's been all boring work up till now. Seriously. All right, here we go. We gotta unbox the rest of these bad boys. We got 5, that's right. We'll use that one since it's all dirty. It's gonna be mounted in the bed as a spare. We got a special spare tire mount we gotta do. Just focus on the lift kit. But yeah, throw them on. Ooh. Whew, that's heavy. Sick. Oh yeah. All right, here we go. Wheels and tires are on the truck. I did have to literally melt one of the lug nuts off from the rear wheel. Unfortunately, I thought I'd be able to sell these to somebody, but I basically ruined that wheel over there, so that sucks. But anyway, time to set this thing on the ground. All right, there she is on the ground. We're not outside now because it's dark. But as you can see, I'm so glad we added the block. This truck is sitting level. It's not even higher in the rear, not really. And if we didn't add that block, this thing would be so bad, California squatted. So yeah, made the right decision there. So once I roll this out in the morning, I'll get another picture and I'll confirm with Rough Country about the block just so it can set the minds of others at ease. But this is sexy and we'll take a look at it outside. All right, guys, Monday morning, back out in the shop. You're like, oh my God, 3 days to do this lift? Not really. We were on and off, on and off. And however, as you saw, we were doing frame repair. This is a very rusty truck. Everything was seized and stuck. Things had to be cut off, torched off, you name it, you saw it. So yeah, it definitely takes longer. And if you're doing this for a customer, you want to let them know. However, it's Monday morning now. Steve and I are here on a Sunday working on it. But I need to get this out of the shop and get some paying jobs in here to keep the lights on. So with that being said, I did talk to Rough Country. 2 things. You do stack the blocks. So you're gonna put the Rough Country block and the factory block together. That's the only way their U-bolts are even gonna work, and you're gonna get any lift out of the back of this truck. I've seen other YouTube videos out there where guys just swap it out, because I know sometimes in the industry they frame on stacking blocks. But if the kit is designed for it and they say it's okay to do, you're okay to do it. As long as you're using the components and everything they say to do. Anyway, the ones I saw without using the double block, without stacking the blocks, it's so squatted. It looked, in my opinion, terrible. Unless that's what you want. But anyway, let's get this out of the shop. We can do a walk around outside and wrap this video up. All right, and it's a lovely, like, mid-November rainy day. So as you can imagine, it's cold. All right, it's raining out. I'll make this quick to walk around, but this thing looks killer. You remember what it looked like at the beginning of the video, right? Check this out. Oh yeah. Like, that is a different truck, boys and girls. Look at this thing. This is killer. Absolutely killer. Now, I did just try to drive it down the driveway, and I've got no track bar in it whatsoever, and that doesn't work so well. Because the whole thing, when you go to steer, the truck will lean one way or lean the other way. So that's on order. I did just order that, confirmed with Rough Country what I needed to do. So again, I got a track bar coming that's for a February of 94 and up. But here's a walk around of this truck. This is like, it's a big boy truck now. It looks like a big boy truck. I am excited. That exhaust, my $150 eBay exhaust actually sounds really good. Oh yeah. I can't wait, man. We got so much more to do in this with lighting and just a ton of stuff. And we even got the logo. Oh yeah. Thank you, Rough Country, for being behind this build and all of our sponsors. This is badass. So with that being said, let's wrap this video up. We did the first fun, cool thing on the Dodge Project Brewser. We've got to get it lettered up. We got the signage to put on the doors, which I was going to do, but it's just too wet and chilly out here today. I've got new headlights for it that we got to wire in. We're going to put the spare tire in the back with the tire carrier. Maybe we'll do a short video on that as well. So thanks for watching. Stay tuned. Scott Flip and Customized.